Brewers are inching closer to the World Series. The Packers got a big win last night, and the NBA season starts tonight. We've got it all covered. Sports Talk Live starts right now. I'm Hunter Baumgart, along with Aaron and Mason here this afternoon on Sports Talk Live. And we are going to get into a lot of different topics, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. Let's start with Major League Baseball. The Brewers making a push here for the World Series, up 2-1 in the NLCS. First, what are your takeaways so far from the series?
It's exciting. It's also very nerve-wracking, though. I mean, it's a close series. I think all 3 games were decided with a tying run left on base. So that's pretty nerve-wracking. I mean, It's been awesome seeing Orlando Arcia step up in this postseason after having kind of a disappointing season, touted as like one of the highest prospects in Major League. So it's been exciting to see, and obviously Josh Hader. So I'm sure you want to get in on this, Mason.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think the most important part of the series right now is taking that 2-1 lead on the road is so important. It's somewhere along like 70-ish% of teams that take that 2-1 lead on the road end up winning the series, and especially the Brewers have proven that they can win on the road in big games. You know, in St. Louis, they ended up taking it to clinch a postseason. They won the tiebreaker, you know, in Wrigley Field. Clutch. They won the first NLDS in Colorado. So the fact that, you know, we have another 2 games in LA, I think, you know, if we can take at least one more, you know, get a 3-1 lead, and we're going to come back to Milwaukee if we don't win that last one. I think that's really important. You know, winning on the road is so important in the playoffs, and I think that's what the Brewers proven they can do, and I think we just need to take that momentum and keep going with it.
What's good about last night is you win Game 3, and you automatically secure now going back to Miller Park, which is always the good thing. You know you're going to go back home. The thing is, though, I mean, if they would lose the next 2, they're then down in the series, which would mean, you know, you're down 3-2 heading to Miller Park, which isn't the best spot to be in. So if they can just take one of these next 2, whether it's tonight with, I know Gio Gonzalez is starting tonight, or Wade Miley tomorrow night, although Kershaw is starting for the Dodgers on tomorrow night. So maybe tonight would be the chance.
Yeah, but Kershaw, he's a different pitcher in the playoffs.
That's true. That's true. We saw that Game 1.
I mean, he hasn't been as outstanding as he usually is during the regular season, so I'm not as worried as I would be about Kershaw if it was like Bumgarner, so to say, because he's almost known for how clutch he is in the playoffs. Jeremy Jeffers have scared me a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep bringing him in the 9th inning. You got to trust your.
How'd you guys like that move last night, bringing Jefferson in the 9th inning last night, up by 4? I mean, you had a cushion.
I mean, you had to bring him in.
Yeah, I think, you know, part of it was just wanting to preserve Hader, because you want Hader to play in as many games as possible. You know, he came in, he only pitched 2/3 last night, but he came in and did what he needed to do. I think, you know, that 4-run lead was comfortable, and we loaded the bases. You know, it got kind of scary, but I really think that, you know, our bullpen is good enough. We have enough people in there, and if we can just, you know, keep rotating all those pitchers so that we can keep them, you know, fresh for all the different games that we need to play is big. So, you know, he hasn't been performing how I've wanted him to do this postseason. Jeffers hasn't, but I think, you know, we have enough other players that can kind of pick him up, that it's not the worst that we put him in. You know, maybe he just needs those extra couple innings to get out of that little slump he's in. So, you know, it ended up working out all right, so I'm okay with it in the end.
Yep. He ended up fixing what he started, so that was good.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm looking for Yelich to get going, too. I mean, he hasn't been having that great of a postseason, which is honestly... It's not a bad thing, because it's showing that we can succeed without him having insane numbers, and I think that's almost good for a World Series team. And if he can get going in his hometown, in his home state, I should say, I'd be really excited.
Yeah, right, because he's from LA, and the bottom of the order has been exceptional so far in the playoffs. Kratz, of course, doing what he did in the first series, and then Orlando Arcia has 3 home runs. That's actually tied for the most postseason home runs in a single season for the Milwaukee Brewers, with likes of Paul Molitor and Prince Fielder and Ted Simmons as well. So it's like he's kind of in Brewers glory now. But we'll see if he can keep doing it. Like you said, Yelich and Kane as well. Kane's been okay, but Kane needs to also.
Yeah, I always like how Kane plays, though. He's always a very clutch player, makes great decisions, great catches. I mean, I think two games ago he missed that one catch, but then he still got the win. So.
And you want to talk about those historic home runs. If we can have our pitchers come in and hit a dinger once in a while, you can't expect that.
That's right.
But it's always a good thing to see, and like I said, if we get one of those, even one more in the playoffs, that'd be a great thing to see.
But, yeah, that was amazing. Brandon Woodruff, and of course, Gio Gonzalez is starting tonight, and so you could see Brandon Woodruff in another relief role tonight where Gio maybe goes 2. I'd like him maybe to go more than 2 innings, but if he can go 3, say, and then bring in Woodruff for the next 3, and who knows, maybe Woodruff will get another at bat and hit the home run, because I think he's the best hitter out of the pitchers on the Brewers. I would think.
Yeah, I
agree with that, definitely.
I don't really see anyone else hitting well. I mean, actually, I was in LA this summer, and I got to see a Dodgers-Brewers game.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately, it was 23-5.
That was that one.
Dodger Stadium record. But I actually did see Chacin hit he had a double to the wall and brought in Christian Yelich. So, I mean, he's got potential. I have seen him hit a home run. I think he hit a home run this year. Last time we had pitchers hitting home runs, it was...
He might have, definitely.
Yeah, last time we had pitchers hitting home runs, it was CC Sabathia. And those are the good days.
He had some power. He had some power.
So.
So moving on from the NL to the AL now, the other side looks like this. The series is tied between the Red Sox and the Astros. Series is tied at 1. Game 3 is this afternoon in Houston. What have you guys kind of seen in this series so far? I mean, 2 really good teams.
Yeah. It's another close series. I do think that these 2 teams are much better than the Brewers or the Dodgers, which I think will be scary in the World Series if the Brewers get there. Mookie Betts has a bounce back after going 4 for 20 through the first 5 postseason games. He had 2 doubles, scored 2 runs, drove in another, and stole 3 bases. So he's a likely AL MVP candidate. And if they do make it to the World Series, the Red Sox, I'd like to see him versus Yelich in a possible MVP hit off.
Hit off for sure.
And definitely, I kind of touched on it in the last series too, but that crucial game 3, depending who can take that lead in the series. The Astros are actually in postseason 11-1 in Minute Maid Park, going back to the last postseason where they lost 1 game at home in the World Series against the Dodgers. So, they're playing well at home. If they can take that, get that one up on the Red Sox at home, that'd be big. And, honestly, that personally, obviously, I want to see the Brewers, but, the Astros wanting to repeat, they have that going for them, and a possible World Series rematch. That, of all the sports where you see, rematches in, the final stage, I believe MLB is where you see it the least.
Oh, for sure.
But, yeah, definitely, I don't want to see them, but of the 2 teams, I would rather see the Astros take it over the Red Sox. Maybe just I'm just not a Red Sox fan really. I like to see Astros, kind of that smaller market team, along with the Brewers, come along and take over those giant market teams with the Red Sox and the Dodgers. So. Well,
and the Astros kind of built their team the way the Brewers built theirs. I mean, it was just basically bottom up, a couple key acquisitions as well, and so they kind of built. And the funny thing is David Stearns, who's the general manager of the Brewers, was the assistant GM in Houston and kind of built them up. So if they would face each other in the World Series, that would be kind of interesting for him, because he kind of helped build both of those teams.
Yeah, that's crazy. A young superstar.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, talk about superstar there. So, who do you guys think is going to win that series ultimately? Astros or Red Sox?
I think I'm going with the Astros on that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Astros too. They're too good at home.
Gotcha. Even though the Red Sox won over 100 games this year, they had a crazy good regular season.
Yeah, I feel the Astros. Like that pitching stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on to from baseball to football here, NFL just finished up week 6, I believe. And so getting into the NFL here, a lot to talk about. First, let's start with the Packers. Obviously, we're all Packer fans here. You got the shirt on. And so they got a win last night. It was a little iffy there for a while. I don't know. I don't know what to make of these Packers this year.
I mean, inconsistent. I think it was nice to see Mason Crosby return to proper form after the disaster he had last week in Detroit. But I think. Again, it comes down to Aaron Rodgers really just does it all. Yeah. And as fun as it is to watch, it's not something I want to see all the time. No. I'd like to see the rest of the team help him perform. But you got to remember we were missing Randall Cobb and Geronimo Allison, who are two of the top 3 receivers. We're bringing in Valdez Scantling and St. Brown, who prior to this week probably no one's heard of before. So they didn't play flawlessly, but you saw Rodgers. When they would have a mistake, he gets on them right away, and I think that's what those young receivers need, and the fact that they have a nice close victory under their belt like this that can really help them. They know they can perform in those high pressure situations and everything. So I think that's going to help them out a little bit. But it all comes back to just our defense needs to perform better than it is.
Yeah, it's sad watching them play. I mean, I love Aaron Rodgers, and watching Aaron Rodgers play is amazing, and it's beautiful to see him come back every time. But yeah, I want to lead. I think this defense really needs like a star. The last 2 times we acquired a star, think about it. Reggie White, Charles Woodson. What happened after we did that? Two Super Bowls. We need a star on defense just like we have a star on offense. We should have got Khalil Mack.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't understand. There's a lot of people saying, well, for Khalil Mack, it was too much to give up. Why would you have at this point in where the Packers are? I get it if you're maybe like rebuilding or something like that, or you're the 49ers, right? And you're trying to acquire draft picks. But I think for the Packers, it's more of you're wanting to win now and to give up whatever you had to give up. You don't have to give up, say, like Devontae Adams if they needed him, but sure, give up a Cobb,
for
maybe a couple
generational
draft picks.
Player.
Exactly. We've seen what he's done with the Bears.
Honestly, that's the great teams. You see them have 3 great things. You have a great quarterback. We have Aaron Rodgers. Pass protection, we have a pretty decent online. David Bakhtiari at our left tackle is one of the best in the league. And the third thing is an elite pass rush. Yeah. That's Khalil Mack. He's taken, look what he's done on the Bears, honestly. He's come, they, lost an air one in Miami this past week, but he's really taken that Bears team, a team nobody really expected much from. They thought Mitch Trubisky might take that next step, but it's their defense that's really been pulling out for them. And, with the ties between the Packers and the Vikings, the Bears actually sit at the top of the NFC North right now, which that's pretty much entirely led by their defense, which is led by Khalil Mack. So I honestly think we should have gone through with him. We did, a nice defensive acquisition we had was Muhammad Wilkerson, but then he got hurt. Yeah. So, you hate to see that, but, you just have to step up, and we need the rest of the defense to just start stepping up into that role, because if they want to win, if they want to make the postseason, it comes back to our defense.
That's for sure. So looking at the AFC, the NFC, we mentioned a couple teams there, Vikings, Bears. Who do you think is the favorites let's just go with the NFC?
NFC, I think you got to go with the Rams.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still undefeated.
They are.
Their defense is insanely talented. I mean, they have Marcus Peters, Aqib Talib, Aaron Donald, Ndamukong Suh. These are all household names. And their offense is talented as well. I mean, Todd Gurley, Jared Goff. The receiving crew could use a little work, but
Yeah, definitely. Especially, they've had a few receivers go down. Cooper Kupp just got injured this last week. But, they've had actually a couple of close games against some teams people weren't that big on. But, playing in Seattle is never easy.
No.
Pulled out a close one there. Then they traveled to Denver where it was snowing. And, LA teams going into those cold weather climates, it can sometimes be hard for them. But, they performed well. They ended up getting the win there. So, honestly, I just think that, the Rams are definitely my pick in the NFC.
And then AFC, for me, would have to be. It's hard to go against the Patriots.
Yeah.
It's hard to go against Patriots, but the Chiefs are an exciting team.
They are. We just saw them though go to Foxborough and lose. So I know.
That defense is scary.
Yeah, I still have to go with the Patriots until they lose, and we'll get to them with our buy or sell segment coming up a little later. But I just think until they show us that they can't get to the Super Bowl, you have to pick them to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I will give you one other team.
Yeah.
It's actually the other LA team, the Chargers.
Okay.
They lost to the Chiefs week 1, but how they were missing a lot on their defense then, and Melvin Gordon is playing very well. You got Philip Rivers is kind of an unsung quarterback.
He's having a great year this year.
Yeah, he's having a great year. So I think I'm also on you. It's between the Patriots and the Chiefs, but don't forget about the Chargers either.
That's definitely. I heard some people calling Philip Rivers a future Hall of Fame quarterback. Do you think he's going to get in the Hall of Fame?
Probably. I think eventually.
Okay.
If he has another great year or two.
Yeah, I mean, especially if he gets far in the playoffs, at one of his years at least. That's kind of the one thing he hasn't been able to do. So earlier, we obviously talked about the Milwaukee Brewers and their recent success. We went out on campus, and Mason actually went out on campus and asked a bunch of different people, students, professors, about how they're feeling about this recent Brewers postseason run.
Are you a big Brewers fan?
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan.
There you go.
Yeah, you can
That
say.
really looks like.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah.
Huge.
No, I'm actually a Cubs fan.
Are you cheering for the Brewers in the playoffs?
Yeah, actually, I'm cheering for the Brewers.
All right, it's good to hear.
You know, I grew up around Philadelphia, so I sort of have a soft spot for the Phillies. But I'll tell you, living in Wisconsin for 12 years, you do get caught up in the Brewers. Very exciting. I was just telling my mom, actually, who lives down in Alabama, wow, the Brewers, you know, they're close to the World Series. This is big with L.A., so I'll be checking it out.
Awesome. But you are cheering for them, right? To finish.
They're the team. I want them to go all the way, of course.
Who's the MVP?
Christian Yelich, all the way.
I think that Yelich will be the MVP, but you could also go with someone from the bullpen.
Oh, it's Christian Yelich all the time, every day.
When you're watching baseball, do you have a go-to snack that you like to eat?
Oh, I'd just say some cheese curds.
I'm a huge Brewers Peanuts guy. Oh, yeah, when I'm watching the Cubs, I always eat Swedish fish.
You know, nachos, and my wife actually makes her own chips, so we can bake them and not put a lot of salt on them, and they're really healthy and good.
My go-to is beer.
For WMCM, this has been Mason Polk and Allie Schatzman. Thank you.
Around campus regarding the Milwaukee Brewers, and we'll get to them a little later in a segment we like to call Buy or Sell. But first, time to get into the National Basketball Association, NBA.
My favorite.
Your personal favorite.
Yep.
And so let's start in the Eastern Conference. The season starts tonight. Boston and Philadelphia starting the season off. What are you guys looking at in the Eastern Conference?
Eastern Conference, I'm excited. I'm a Bucks fan.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the new coach, Mike Budenholzer, and see what he can do with Giannis. I think the top 5 players for the East this year, I'm saying 1 is Giannis. I know there's a little hometown bias there, but I'm confident with my pick. 2 is Kyrie Irving, 3 is Kawhi Leonard, 4 is Joel Embiid, and 5 John Wall.
You know, I like those picks. I would not put John Wall at number 5. Over him, I think I would take possibly Ben Simmons,
Okay.
you know, if he can develop like a jumper,
That's
definitely.
fair. That's fair.
And then also you got to remember the return of Gordon Hayward, Western Conference All-Star for a few years, you know. Man, I just got
You
to
see his
take
ankle
them.
last year?
Yeah.
You think he's going to run again the same?
You know, I don't know. I don't hate John Wall as a pick, but until he can get his stuff figured out in Washington, you know, between him and Bradley Beal, you know, honestly, I could see the Wizards going anywhere from, you know, a 5 seed to a 13 seed in the conference, depending on if they can figure their stuff out. But yeah, definitely, like you said, Budenholzer in Milwaukee is something I'm real excited for. Coach of the Year a few years ago with the Atlanta Hawks, and people say around the league they call him the man who can do the most with the least.
Really?
And the roster that we have in Milwaukee is a lot better than the one that he had in Atlanta when he led them to the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. So I'm really excited for that.
It's his first time with the superstar, too.
Yeah.
Of Giannis' caliber. He's never had a player like that, so that's going to be pretty exciting. I mean, the best player he had was what? Al Horford at age 31.
Yeah, right, exactly.
With no one around
Doesn't
him.
really compare to Giannis.
Maybe Paul Millsap. That's no Giannis, yeah.
No.
That's no Giannis. So I'm really excited for that. Chris Middleton, I think he's going to have a huge year. I think he's going to have a breakout year. Maybe all-star candidate with the East thinning out a little bit with LeBron going west. So.
I think so. I think the Bucks are. We were talking before the show, and we were saying how, you know, I think they're going to be top 4 seed. We say that every year, but I think this year, more than past years, they have a good coach, and that I think that's going to be. In the preseason they looked really good, and so I'm really excited to watch them.
What's your team to watch this year in the Eastern
Team to
Conference?
watch in the East? I think it's the Bucks because I think you know what you're getting with Boston. I think they have a lot of talent, and I'm guessing they'll get the 1 seed in the East. So, but then you look, Kawhi Leonard's going to be interesting to see what he can do with the Raptors. But I think the team
Pacers.
that most excites, yeah, they're
Pacers
definitely in it
I
as well.
think the Pacers are a team to watch as well.
I think the team that most excites me though would be the Bucks.
And you, Mason?
I would say a different team because that was going to be my answer
Yeah.
too.
Sure.
But I think definitely the Raptors. We get Kawhi Leonard back after almost an entire year off, and I don't know if you saw, but he was in Toronto and he actually laughed. It was the most awkward laugh I've ever seen in my
It seemed
life.
a little forced.
But maybe he said he wasn't really excited to play there. But maybe with LeBron finally out, the man who owns Toronto, you bring in Kawhi Leonard, who I think is a better player than DeMar DeRozan. You lost Dwayne Casey, who I think was a really good coach. I think it was a mistake to fire him. But I think
Coach of the year, actually.
Yeah, honestly, I think bringing him in, I think Toronto, other than Milwaukee, is my team to watch right now.
Okay.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting. If you had to pick a team to go to the finals from the East right now, who would it be?
Boston.
Yeah,
Kyrie Irving.
right. Yeah.
He's a dog.
Yeah,
He's a dog.
Kyrie Irving. They got Gordon Hayward, but I'm interested to see Gordon Hayward in the
Kyrie.
going back because of course he got hurt on this very night last year when there was opening night and they played the Cavs and then he got hurt. So I'm sure he's excited to be back on the floor. I'm just see how that whole team gels.
We'll see a lot of Kyrie plays. So I'm excited for that.
Sounds good. We are going to shift here to the NBA, the Western Conference, which it might be more. It's interesting. It might be more interesting just because LeBron has went over there now, which kind of opens up the East in a way. But how much of an impact do you see LeBron moving to the Lakers having? Like, do you think the Lakers, what kind of season do you think?
They improve. Definitely. Any team you put LeBron in is automatically going to improve. And, you get some more development from Kuzma and Brandon Ingram.
Dramatic.
Yeah.
Dramatic.
And, but honestly, I don't see them getting like a top half seed. I think they're between 5 and 8, somewhere in there. Because honestly, the Western Conference last year, if you remember, the 3rd through 8th seed was separated by, I believe, 3 games.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
that entire bottom half of the conference can get mixed up around. But even you can put LeBron there. I don't think that anybody's getting past the Warriors, especially because they added DeMarcus Cousins, coming off an injury, yes, but still him on one leg is going to be better than Zaza Pachulia.
Yeah, we know.
So they filled up one of their weakest spot in the lineup. So Warriors are still coming out of the West.
Yeah, we know how the season's gonna end.
There's kind of some tier kind of Houston, OKC, Golden State, maybe even the Lakers in the top 4, and then you got like the Spurs and Jazz kind of also in there. Timberwolves.
They're falling in.
They're falling. I mean, they're kind of falling fast, it seems like. So, we are going to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to do some buy or sell. So stick around.
Hi, my name's Marmalade. I'm 1.5 years old. Or if you want, you can call me Chirps, because I like to chirp when I play. I'm super friendly, so please adopt me.
My name is Zen, also known as the Gentle Giant, because I love to cuddle. I'm not always the most energetic, but put a feather in front of me and watch me go.
Hello, my name is Bear. I've been here 1 year, and I love people and trying to catch this feather.
To find out more about adoption, contact La Crescent Animal Rescue at 507-895-2066.
Again, the number for the La Crescent Animal Rescue is 507-895-2066. So now we are going to play a little bit of buy or sell, and I'm going to give you guys a statement. You tell me if you buy it or you sell it.
All right.
Sounds good?
Yep, got my money.
All right, so here we go. Topic number 1, the New England Patriots will make the Super Bowl for the 3rd year in a row.
I don't like the Patriots, but I'm going to buy this until they don't, okay? Just year after year, Tom Brady's 100 years old. Gronk gets hurt every year, but somehow they manage to pull it off. So the Patriots, I have to buy until somebody else can stop them.
Yeah, I'm going with the Patriots as well. I have to buy it. I mean, literally my entire existence as a sports fan has been the Patriots and Tom Brady succeeding. I mean, if there's 3 certainties in the sports world, or in the world in general, it's death, taxes, and Tom Brady making the playoffs and probably the Super Bowl.
I saw that he was I believe, the winningest, the most winning. He's won the most games as a player ever. By winning that game on Sunday night against the Chiefs. He's won the most games out of any NFL player to ever play the game.
Wow.
Which makes sense because they're consistently 10 to 12, 10 to 12 wins every year, and then they go to the postseason, and then they get 2 or 3 wins, or maybe in a Super Bowl after that. So I agree. I'm going to buy that because especially what happened 2 nights ago on Sunday night when they played the Chiefs, and they won. So. Number 2 here, this season is considered a failure if the Brewers don't make the World Series.
This one I'm actually going to sell on.
Okay.
Obviously, as a Brewers fan, I want nothing more for them to make the World Series. But as just a team that we are, one of, if not the smallest markets in all of the MLB, we have great farm systems, but it's hard to keep players because we don't have the money to keep them around. So I just think where we are this season was a success. Obviously, I want more, but you can't say it's a failure after making it to the NLCS for the first time in 7 years.
I'm gonna say it's a failure if we don't make it to the World Series at least. Because we're a small market team, how many times are we gonna be in this position?
It's
like
rare.
You said, once every 7 years. So when you're there, you gotta go for it. Just like we trade a lot of prospects to acquire Moustakas, Scope, players at the deadline, Gio. So I think you got to go for it, and if we don't at least make the World Series like we did in '82, and all our dads, I'm sure, still talk about it, I want to at least experience that. So I would say yes, it's a failure.
I do want to experience it as well. I think I'm going to sell on it just on the fact that I think this season really, to get to the NLCS is really awesome. But I think you're exactly right on the fact that to get to this point, to the NLCS, is super hard, and to get to the World Series is even harder. So if they don't make it, it will kind of leave an empty space. Because,
it'll leave a hole in my soul.
Right, because you know how hard it is to get to this point. So we'll see if it happens. Hopefully it does. They're 2 wins away. Moving to the AL again, this season is considered a failure if the Red Sox don't win the World Series.
This one I'm also going to sell on just because I don't follow the Red Sox. I don't know what their, predictions were going into the season at all. But, I don't think, especially in the MLB, it's hard to say, you have to win the World Series for it to be a success. They're a team, I will say, it was a failure if they don't make it. But I don't think you can just go in saying a team has to win it, and it's a failure if they don't.
Yeah, that's hard. I definitely would say that the Red Sox fans are different than Brewers fans, as they've come to expect this kind of happening. So I could see how a Red Sox fan would think that could be a failure if they didn't win the World Series, as they've done so in the past, whereas the Brewers have not at all. So I'll probably sell on the Red Sox overall, though.
Sounds good. Finally, last topic, or last buy or sell question for you guys. LeBron and the Lakers will overtake the Warriors and win the Western Conference.
Sell.
Yeah, hard
so
sell.
If you go position by position, just look at the teams. The only position where the Lakers win is at small forward, where LeBron is still a better overall player than Kevin Durant. Slightly, yes. But other than that, there's no way that I don't even know, there are 3 or 4 teams other than the Warriors that could beat the Lakers in the Western Conference playoffs. So there's no way.
So?
Yeah.
I honestly think that the Warriors are just unbeatable, and that we shouldn't even talk about NBA up here. Maybe the Bucks, maybe the Eastern Conference.
I don't really like the NBA to be period.
We know how this. I love the NBA, but we know how the season is going to end.
That's why I don't like it, though.
Unless all 5 players get hurt, they're going to win the not World Series, the championship. So
no, that's true. So with that, it's time to give you some of our one each. We're all going to do a rant here, and Mason, you want to kick us off with your rant?
So here's my little rant. It's something that I've always hated growing up my entire life in baseball, and I'm glad I'm a Brewers fan, so I don't have to deal with this quite as much. But the American League, it comes to the designated hitter rule, is the dumbest thing ever. Hitting is literally half the sport in baseball. I understand you're a pitcher and you're doing a lot for the team already. You're kind of the most pivotal position, but hitting is half the sport. There should be no designated hitters. The pitcher should have to hit, and if you want to have someone come in and hit for him, then he's out of the game. I think the NL does it right and the AL does it wrong.
That's good. That's good.
That's good.
Yep. Me now?
You go.
Alrighty. On here? Okay. So, on here, all right. So fantasy football is defined by some as the pinnacle of activity. It's a combination of sports, gambling, trash talking from your friends. And my season's being crushed by Le'Veon Bell. You know, I tried to side with you, Le'Veon. Like, you want more money? I get it. I understand. But I'm 2-4 now. And my team put up a measly 60 points last week. I had to start Jalen Richard. I bet you guys don't even know who that is. Jalen Richard, do you know what team he plays for?
No.
Yeah, okay. Le'Veon, please, just come back. Just come back. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
And finally, for me, I'm going to talk about Major League Baseball, the Fox analysts who have done the post-game and pre-game shows on Fox for the MLB playoffs, specifically the NL, because they don't have the AL playoffs. But the NL playoffs are on Fox, and it's Frank Thomas, Alex Rodriguez, David Ortiz. Don't get me wrong, great baseball players. But they have not done their homework on the Milwaukee Brewers clearly, and it's showing day in and day out on their post-game, pre-game show. Turn it on tonight, you'll find this out. There's been a couple quotes. I have them right here. A-Rod said last night, Counsell had last night's game scripted. He needs to get his head out of his iPad because it almost cost him. So he's saying that Counsell had exactly what he wanted to do scripted before the game, and no matter what, he was going to pull those strings. That is not at all what Counsell does. He clearly plays matchups, and he clearly goes by how the team is doing. Secondly, Big Papi also said that the Brewers have been using Josh Hader as their closer the whole year, and that's the guy they want to close games. I mean, that's just simply factually wrong. The Knable and Jeffress have been the closers all year. Hader's been the long distance guy from like the 7th and 8th inning. So clearly that's wrong. I just think, yes, they're a small market team, but you have two teams to focus on, the Dodgers and the Brewers. And so you need to do your homework a little more, Fox analysts. There you go. Any final words? Go Brewers.
Go Brewers. Go Packers.
Yep. Hopefully the Brewers can make it to the World Series. That'd be nice. Well, thanks so much for watching Sports Talk Live this afternoon. We'll see you again soon. See you Thursday for Weekend Review, and 4 o'clock, or 4:30, sorry, for Afternoon Delight.
Awesome. Yeah, so
I have just finished
what you guys doing
listening
this weekend?
to the Music Bakery.
We got...
What do I got planned? We got a lot of things planned. Hanging out with my friends.